Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble news channel. I don't plan to sell any of my Bitcoin so I can be calm and relaxed about it at the end of the year. There is no way that it will happen now in the future, or soon. I'm going to hold on to Bitcoin for a very long time. It might reach $100,000 by the end of the year. Based on how things are going, I believe it is possible to reach $100,000 by the end of the year. Obviously, I'm setting myself up for a fall there, but I think it's possible that we could see that level, since the day before yesterday was the second largest day of inflows into these spot ETFs ever, with almost $1 billion coming in. That's 2 weeks of straight inflows, which shows that the demand is there. Guy Turner, one of the co-founders of Coin, recently let people know that he thinks Bitcoin will go up in value. Turner is very optimistic about Bitcoin's long-term prospects. He is hanging on to his coins and has no plans to sell them anytime soon because he thinks Bitcoin's value will go up a lot over time. Strong market conditions are what he thinks will cause Bitcoin to hit $100,000 by the end of the year. Turner talked about the huge rise in money coming into Bitcoin spot ETFs, including the second largest ever single-day inflow of almost $1 billion. Over 2 weeks of steady inflows show that investors are still interested in Bitcoin. This says that there is strong and ongoing demand for Bitcoin. As is often the case, the two main factors that affect Bitcoin and could either push it to $100,000 by the end of the year or keep it below that amount are both US-based. And one is the center. What will happen if that happens? What will happen if the Fed starts to lower interest rates? There will be an election. As we talked about for a long time last week, crypto is now a very political problem. The more money that comes into the market, most likely through spot ETFs, the more politicized it will get and the more important it will be. The way things are going now, I think Biden hadn't vetoed SAV 121 in last week's stream, but he has now, even though he said he would. I think a lot of people thought that the administration might be leaning more toward crypto now that Trump has spoken out so strongly in favor of it, but then he goes ahead and does it. There's no way I could disagree with that. The Democrats will be bad for crypto under this administration, while the Republicans under Trump will be good for crypto. That's why I think that's the other big driver. The Federal Reserve will obviously free up capital if interest rates go down. I think some of that capital could go into Bitcoin first, and then, the rest of crypto after that. The election is also very important. I also think it will be interesting to see what happens if we believe what the polls are telling us. This is by no means a sure thing, but if we believe what the polls are telling us, Trump is going to win. I also think it will be interesting to see who he chooses to work at the Treasury, the Fed, and the SEC. He could keep Jerome working at the Fed. I'm not sure. Someone new will work at the Treasury. Since the current chair of the SEC is probably the least liked person to ever hold that job, I think there will be a new person in charge. If Trump wins, I think it will be very interesting to see who he runs against. Also, yes, that could have very big effects. We don't even know who his choice is for vice president yet, so it will be a long time before we find out. That is going to be very interesting, though. It's also possible that there will be global risks. It will be interesting to see how the markets would respond if there was a big geopolitical event, like if things got worse in the Middle East or Ukraine. If buyers bought a Bitcoin spot ETF, how would they feel about that? When things get really bad in terms of politics in the world, would BTC be seen as an asset to take a chance on or one to avoid? A lot of things can happen. But I think that if things keep going the way they are, Bitcoin BTC could reach 6 figures by the end of the year. The economies of the EU and the US are very different. I also believe that the rates should be lowered there. I believe everyone in the US wants interest rates to go down. However, the US economy has been so strong and resilient, likely because it is not directly connected to Russia and does not depend on Russia for energy. As a result, the US is able to handle these higher rates for longer, even though there have been signs of weakness in the job market and other areas. But, we've been talking about the US probably going into a recession and being in a lot of trouble ever since we started doing NFA, so for more than a year now, and it hasn't changed. But, as I said, Europe is different. Europe is where the economy is much more stuck. And I think the ECB did this because they feel like they have no other choice but to, if not stimulate the economies, at least try to ease things a bit to give the economies a little boost because, yes, European economies are really struggling compared to places like the US. I'm not shocked that the ECB is being cut. And I think there's a lot of precedent for that. I think Sweden, Switzerland, and Sweden have all cut pretty lately. It sounds like the Bank of England was talking about it, even though the UK is no longer a member of the EU. But yes, Europe is in a bad spot. That's why it's not a surprise. That's right, because I believe it is an important part of a well-balanced crypto strategy. I will say this, though, if you've been in crypto for a while, and I think that most of the people watching this you've had your chance to collect these, and, for whatever reason you passed on that, or maybe you sold it or something. That makes me think that you don't agree with me that ETH is an important part of a well-balanced strategy, which is fine. Some people don't feel that way, though. Hey, if you've been into crypto for a while, now is not the time to buy ETH. I think it's about 20 to 25% of its all-time high. I think there are better ways to make money out there. For someone who is new to crypto, I think now might be a good time to start buying ETH because, as I said, I see it as an important part of a well-balanced portfolio. It's likely that its worth will go up a lot over time. I think it will go up with spot ETFs, which are still making their way through the system. However, I'm not sure if the desire for them right away will be as high as many people are hoping. But yeah, I think this could be a good time if this is you and you're getting into the market now. But yeah, if you're an old pro and ETH isn't in your portfolio, I think you've pretty much made your bed when it comes to that. Now you should just lie down.